Bruh. Hello everyone, and welcome to Friday's stream. Well, at least it's not weak tea this time. Wow. Okay. Oh, damn it. I always forget. I always forget to set myself as do not disturb. Anyway. Hope everyone is having a good Friday. Oh. Yeah, I stayed up until late last night because I started hacking on the last feature that I want to land for Amberol 0.4. And of course, I ended up going to bed at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. I honestly lost track of time. Well, to be fair, I spent most of yesterday trying to figure out essentially GStreamer. After 15 years, I finally had to deal with GStreamer directly. Well, not 15 years, nearly 20. But yeah, it was the first time I had to deal with GStreamer, like, fully. Writing a media player will do that to you. At the very least, the first impact with GStreamer, like modern GStreamer, not GStreamer 0.8, which was the version of GStreamer I had to deal with when I first started contributing to GNOME. Yeah, the first impact with that was GST Player, and GST Player is very simple. It doesn't do anything special or anything like that. You still have to, in Rust, you still have to deal a lot with signals and threads and main loops and stuff like that. But now I had to deal with pipelines and the message bus and message structures. And that was hilarious. It's not Alajira, and also it's not scary. It's just that for me it's completely a complete black box. I've never had to deal with it. It's, I'd say, after nearly 20 years of working on GTK and using GTK, GStreamer is like me being confronted with GTK like for the first time. So it's kind of, if not scary, at the very least is an unknown. I know the design, I know how it's put together, I know how it's meant to be used, but I never used it. So it's basically just, I don't know what I'm doing. You know the meme image with the dog in front of a computer and just, I don't know what I'm doing? Yeah, that's it. Hello, I'm dog. So it's mostly me being confronted with the fact that I never had to deal with GStreamer until now. And of course, I come from C, where basically everything goes. Now I'm confronted with the fact that I'm using GStreamer in Rust, which is a lot more complicated. Still, I honestly can say I'm having fun, which is a change. So I'm not too upset about it. You get to avoid all the threading issues. Yes, well, I don't get to avoid them. I get to avoid the threading bugs. Yes, I don't get to avoid the threading the fact that everything is threaded. As people might be able to see as soon as I show what I've done yesterday and last night, but mostly yesterday. Especially GStreamer developers will probably throw up as soon as I show my code. I mean, let's dive into it, shall we? Let's dive right into it. So what I've been doing yesterday and last night was working on extracting the waveform of the song that we are currently playing. So let's see the result first. Let me open a couple of widgets, a couple of classes here, but also let's see the results first. And there you go. So now we have a waveform there. No, you don't have a waveform example anywhere. I know that because I looked. I looked everywhere for one. There is a waveform widget in the GNOME sound recorder. But it does it, since it's the sound recorder, it does it synchronize with the rest of the song, the rest of the pipeline. And which is not what I want. But yeah, I had to figure out most of this stuff myself. And it's still pretty buggy, so I'll have to figure something out to fix some of the issues there. But yeah, the overall idea is pretty simple there. The main problem is that you have to design it in a very different way than what I would be designing if I were using C. I mean, the overall idea is pretty simple. You set up the pipeline, and with a bunch of like elements in there, I have to find a way to break up the string here so it's not terrible to read. And then you shove the level element in between the source and the sync. The sync is a fake sync, so it doesn't accidentally play the song for you. And I desync the sync here so that when we play the pipeline, it plays it as fast as it can and not try to synchronize everything. So we can gather all the information. And then comes the madness, of course. Hello, Iotrix and Replus. I mean, the usual thing of adding a watch to the bus from the pipeline is fine, but then I have to collect all the peaks from the element message. So I have to use sender because that stuff happens across threads. So much fun. But yeah, the design is, I mean, it's pretty simple once you understand the way it's done, the way it works. We just watch the pipeline, the message bus on the pipeline, and whenever we get a message of interest, we send a message through a sender-receiver pair to the main thread, which is going to collect, like for instance, collect the peak information, or if it's the end of stream, we notify that we collected everything we could. So the iffy bit is you have to keep everything alive until the end of the process. Otherwise, it goes out of scope and it gets collected. There are a couple of things there that I have no idea if they work, honestly. For instance, right now, if you try to run it again, so if you run it once, it's fine. If you run it again, we just rebuild everything and then we replace the references that we keep around. But I'd have to check if I need to remove the watch from the bus or not. Right now, the pipeline goes away, so I assume the bus goes away, so I assume the bus watch goes away, because there's only one of them. So in theory, everything should be collected at the end, like here. So, I mean, I hope. I haven't run everything under like Valgrind or like a memory profiler to see if I'm leaking like a sieve. In theory, I shouldn't be. But yeah, otherwise I'll have to basically just here at the top, if there is already a pipeline there, like stored somewhere, I need to remove the watch like function from the bus. Hi, Georges. So yeah, checking for leaks will come later. Right now it's working. This is the baseline. Yeah, it's release day today. I honestly don't know if I'm gonna merge this one. I think I'm going to, but there are some iffy bugs here and there. It's nothing like serious. Nothing will crash. It's just will not look as good with everything. But yeah, all of this, what it does is essentially just whenever you set a URI and you call a function here, generate peaks, it will like run through the entire song at the entire file at the given URI and collect all the peak levels in the file. And then just add them to a vector of like pairs, and then emit a property notification. It's 200 lines of code, so it's not terrible, honestly. It's much more compact than C, of course. Still figuring this stuff out was not the easiest thing mostly, well, I can remove a bunch of stuff here. Yeah, like this one can be removed. It's mostly figuring out where the stuff goes, right? It's figuring out where to set up the pipeline. It's figuring out where to keep all a reference to everything. Like, do I need to keep a reference to the bus as well, or do I need to keep a reference to the pipeline only? If the bus goes out of scope here, does it get collected? It shouldn't, but it might. So maybe I don't need to do all of this. Maybe I just need to replace the pipeline. Yeah, that's what I thought. The pipeline keeps a reference to the bus. So in theory, I should just keep the pipeline, not the bus, of course. But never know. Like, for instance, if I keep around the pipeline, then I will need to check if the pipeline is already set here. If there is a pointer to the, well, not a pointer, a reference to the old pipeline. And then grab the bus from the other pipeline, remove the watch. So essentially something like this. And then here. Pipeline. So if we have an old reference to the pipeline, then we just grab the bus again. Wait, some breath. Pipeline. We grab the bus again, and then we do bus remove watch. That should work. I mean, it should maybe should not be needed at all, but and then we can remove the reference from here because we don't use the bus anywhere else. So yeah, the pipeline doesn't touch the bus. Yeah, we're keeping. I was keeping around the bus for an excess of safety. Yeah, of course. And yeah, expect here. So maybe we are gonna get an assertion failure and stuff. Ria Plus, it's Amberol. This is the name of the MIDI player. So let's see. Let's add a couple of songs there. Okay, so let me mute my desktop before I get a copyright strike. Yeah, it seems to be working now still. So yeah. So maybe this is exactly how it's done. I just keep it around until I regenerate the pipeline. So I regenerate the peaks, sorry. But yeah, all of this code is, I guess this is what I define as it's scary. It's scary because it requires separating the domains. I have to separate the I'm going to collect everything inside this track, and then I have to separate the I'm going to build a vector of results, and I have to have two domains there, and one of them is going to get a message. It's going to receive a message, the other going to send a message. So I guess, I mean, in C I would do this with a simple asynchronous queue. I guess an asynchronous queue, and then I would pass it to both the domains, let's say, and then I would just push stuff from one queue to the other. Pipeline on GST player to get info like this? Yeah, in theory I know, but again, I need to collect all this stuff before I play the song. Otherwise, you will get the waveform while you're playing the song. Whereas I want to collect everything up front. Of course, asynchronously, but I still want to collect everything up front. I mean, the overall idea of this entire thing is that there is a component in the backend of the music player that will just spawn off some thread, collect a bunch of data, and then re-enter the main loop and just present it. I mean, it works, so it's not entirely stupid. Again, maybe just actual GStreamer developers will throw up when they see it. Though I'm kind of using like well-defined patterns there. So, but yeah, and we take this and then we shove it into an actual widget. And in this case, is a very, very simple widget that has a defined height but no width, so it has to expand to it be useful. And then inside the widget, we just draw every single peak with Cairo. Again, it's very, very simple stuff here. Just remove this. Still, it's buggy. Which is annoying. If I have enough, I think I'm doing something extremely stupid here in the chunking. So, yeah, let's go like line per line here. So we want our peaks. The peaks are a vector of two floating point values in a pair. We need to normalize them because while we assume they go from 0 to 1, because that's what GStreamer gives us, the idea is that you want to normalize them for against their maximum value. So they are always between 0 and 1 with respect to their range of values. So in order to do that, we have to decouple the tuple here, and then we compute the maximum value. You cannot use max because they are floating point values, and the max method on the iterator doesn't work on floating point, because floating point values have edge cases like negative and positive infinities and stuff like that. So we end up using the fold method here, which sets up the initial value and the maximum value, and the function to call on the value to do a comparison. I mean, F64 doesn't implement ORD, so it doesn't have the ordering like comparison. And there are crates that do that. There are crates that basically provide a max version for specific ranges and stuff like that, but I didn't want to add a new crate, honestly. The fold method is fine. Yeah, it's implementing partial ordering, but the max method on the iterator trait requires full order, total ordering. And of course, total ordering is not entirely possible with floating points. And yeah, then we simply turn every single pair into an actual structure that has two fields because it's easier to deal with. After that, we have to draw, which is done inside a snapshot. And the snapshot, it's just well, in this case, it's just if the width or the height are 0, then we don't have anything to draw. We don't even go there. We grab the colors from the theme. The themed color is a named color that I have in my own style sheet for this application. And then the accent color comes from Libadwaita. It's one of the named colors. The paintable sink. Oh yeah. And after that, we just create a Cairo node, which gives us a Cairo context. The Cairo node is sized to be as big as the widget here. Again, pretty simple stuff. If you're writing a custom widget that draws with Cairo, this is essentially like 99.9% what you're gonna do. And then we iterate over the peaks that we have. And this is, I think, where some of the bugginess in the rendering comes from. So we have to chunk the peaks because, generally speaking, unless you have a very short song, you will get more samples than the widget is going to be wide. An average 3-minute song for me gives me about 1,000 samples. I have songs that give me fewer samples and songs that give me a little bit more. It's still going to be more samples than the widget is wide. The widget is going to be like 250 pixels wide because it's as big as the playback controls. So it will fit in there, and that is going to be smaller than the minimum size of the application window. Like here, let me run it. Okay, so we have the window here. We add these 2 new songs, we close it, and this is the minimum size of the window. And the minimum size of the window is going to be like 350 pixels or something like that. And this one is going to be smaller than that. it's always going to be like 240 pixels ish. So it has to fill the entirety of this, which again is fine if you have like a lot of samples. It's gonna be absolutely fine. But of course, since we have more samples than we have pixels available, and also we are going to draw a peak and then of 1 pixel wide, and then we leave another pixel of white space. So it's going to be literally 2 pixels for each peak. This means cough cough. This means that our actual the amount of space that we have at our disposal is actually like half of the width of the widget. So if the widget is 230 pixels, is going to be 115 pixels. Which means that we need to we need to take the samples and then chunk them. In this case, we use Rust's own chunk method here, which basically returns a subvector out of a vector. And then we take the chunk that we got and we average the peaks in there. So we show an average of a cluster of samples. There are better ways to do like analysis in this case, but this is the simplest way. And then we draw it. We select the color. We draw it from the top to the bottom of the width of the height of the widget. We need to add 0.5 here because this is Cairo, and you have to add like half a pixel so that Cairo will align to the pixel grid, especially because offset in this case is like a floating point value that is determined by the current position inside the pixel grid. And then we basically we started off with a space here. So our first position is not going to be 0, it's going to be 1, well 2 in this case. And then we draw a line of 1 pixel wide, then we leave another empty pixel, and then we repeat the process again for the next chunk, and so on and so forth until we exhaust the available width. And honestly, that's really all there is to it. It's not incredibly complicated. Of course, 80%, the first 80% is simple. The remaining 80% is not really simple. Basically, what I'm experiencing now is that I am... let me see if I can show it to you. I will need to mute my desktop again. Oh, nice. I'm hitting... yes. I'm hitting the assertion there. Bus has no event source. So it's not really necessary. Okay. It means that it got removed from the pipeline. So the change that I made was not necessary. Okay. That's good confirmation, honestly. That's a very good confirmation. Always nice to use assertion failures to verify that your invariants are actually correct and your assumptions are actually correct. Yeah, in C I would pepper all this code with GStreamer, honestly. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing, so assertions are the only thing that keep a code base reasonably sane. So I'm getting this, which is not entirely correct. I mean, it's good, but not entirely correct. Because the end of this song fades a little bit. And it should show it. Let's see if I can... If it's muted. It's muted. It's well muted. Okay. Okay. So hopefully it doesn't... Nobody can hear it. So if I'm... Yeah. This one should be... It should not be as close to like the maximum value at the very end of the song. But also, well, this is a sneak peek of what we are talking about later on. This is nearly the end of song. Yeah. Yeah, I need to test it. Sorry, I need to mute my desktop. Yeah, this one should be nearly mute. I'm nearly silent in the song itself. So I think I'm overdrawing a little bit. Or at the very least, I'm not chunking correctly. So annoying when you find a bug and you have no idea why it's happening. But yeah, the other part of the waveform view widget is that it handles the click on its own surface, and we can gather the normalized position within the widget and determine where in the song you want to go next. So this is a replacement for the let's use a scale widget to move to a specific point in the song. Everyone uses that. And to be honest, it's kind of a tired UI. This one is slightly nicer, at the very least to see. You're still not going to interact with this with a touch device, because that would be pointless. I mean, I could make it a drag gesture and then define the position using the drag end handling instead of just a click, but still, That's why there are two other buttons to seek ahead and backwards. But yeah, let me have a look at this again. So we are chunking here, like chunking per pixel here. And this is not the branch we're looking for. This is the branch we're looking for. So we are dividing the number of samples we have by the available width, divided by 2 because we have 2 pixels for each peak. So the number of samples per pixel it's not it's every 2 pixels. Oh, maybe this is the problem, because we are drawing a single pixel, but we are taking a pixel out of the equation. So what we are really drawing is, in this case, we'll be drawing 2 samples here, not just 1. So we need to double it. Because we are drawing a chunk and then white space, and then the next chunk and then white space. So we have to double the amount of samples per pixel. I'm basically now thinking aloud. If anybody is watching here and figures it out before me, then feel free to interject and tell me I'm dumb as a bag of bricks. No, this is not correct, because if we double it, then we are taking half the space. So strictly speaking, it's correct that we are taking okay, so we have like 600 peaks and 230 pixels available. Divided by 2 is 116, which means that it's going to be about 6 samples per pixel. It's going to be sample pixel, sample empty, sample empty. But we also start with an offset. So it's really okay. So it's going to be width is going to be width as f64 minus 4, because it's going to be spacing of 2 and a spacing of 2 at the end. divided by 2. And this is going to be effective width. It's going to be slightly smaller. What the fudge? Yeah, I'm done. Oh, hi, Jakob. Wave view. Yes. Yeah, I basically took inspiration from that. And also from a music player for Android, I think. Cassidy linked it to me when he was talking about doing the recoloring of the main window. So again, it's a little bit too much. Or maybe it's just a problem of the sampling from GStreamer. I'm not getting the tail end of the sample. Maybe it's not accurate at the tail end, because it only happens with a couple of tracks, not with everything. Like this case, I'm getting a decent sampling there. And these two as well. And this one as well. It's just, it's a little bit weird. But yeah, it kind of works. It's just that for some tracks, I'm getting a not entirely good end of track sampling. Maybe the last chunk is, I should not be averaging this. Don't know, maybe not. But yeah, I think at the moment is a good. Okay, let me commit this stuff first. I don't want to forget. I mean, it's good enough for a beta release at this point. Maybe it's going to be better in the, I mean, I'm going to keep working on it and maybe release a 0.1 version that has a little bit better waveform output. Right now, it's good enough for looking at the song and then moving into the song at the right position. And then let's commit from view. Draw waveform cursor. In the peaks. Instead of having a large cursor overlaid. So let's push it before I forget. Also because I want to merge all this stuff and then I want to start the release process. Okay. Let me double check one thing. Okay. This one, how many commits does it have? And which commit does it have? Okay, it has a little bit of my main development branch. Okay. So we can reset this. Okay. Oh, I forgot to do the check. Waveform. No, it's fine. Okay. So let's see. Rust format is fine. Reuse is going to be fine as well because I didn't add new stuff. But yeah, there are a couple of changes in the pipeline, no pun intended, for this version of Amberol as well, that I worked on since, well, Monday, essentially. I worked on this week. The number of issues has been whittled down as well. This merge request, I'm not sure is going to land. Actually, I'm probably gonna block it. Needs more like work. So I want to allow operating on the playlist itself, on the ordering, unless you're shuffling the playlist, in which case you have just relinquished your right to modifying the playlist as you see fit. The computer will do it for you. So since you gave up that right, then if you're not shuffling though, being able to move stuff around is nice. The problem is I cannot do this with drag and drop for two reasons. The first one is basic accessibility. Moving stuff around with drag and drop only works if you have a pointer device or a touchscreen. If you're using your computer with your keyboard, well, you're fucked. The other problem is that list view, which is the widget that I'm using for the playlist, does not support reordering rows with drag and drop because it's a recycling widget. The contents of the rows are recycled through the rows. The row widgets are updated with the contents of the model that is backing them, which means that taking a row here and moving it, like taking a row in the middle and moving it at the top, you're not actually moving the widget itself, you're moving the data there. But the main problem is that drag and drop operates on widgets and not on the data. And nobody has come up with an idea to make drag and drop work on list view at the moment. At some point, maybe somebody will, but right now, nobody does. So implementing, I could fake it by basically just not dragging the row, but you start a drag operation, you find the data beneath the row, then you move an icon or an avatar of the row itself, and then when you drop it, you add element to the model. How do list views on iOS Android do it? I think that's how they do it. They have some additional like facility on top. You're not operating on the actual widgetry. You're operating on the data underneath it. I'm not entirely sure that they support this stuff. For instance, I think they're faking it most of the time, to be actually honest with you. If I do it on my iPhone, and I move a row from one position to another, I think I'm actually moving like a separate window on top. Well, not window, but a separate UI element, and the model underneath it just blanks the contents of the row that is the source of the drag operation, and then they just jiggle a little bit the rows that you're crossing through, and then they start scrolling stuff in order to let you position stuff at the right row. But I think there's a lot of trickery involved there. I honestly have no idea programmatically how they're doing it. Same for Android. Though I haven't had an Android phone in probably 10 years, so I have no idea. But this solution is also, I mean, this solution here is what Fragments, the BitTorrent client, uses as well. So have a couple of buttons here that allow you to move the row like one up one level of down or down one level. There are side effects to that as well. So the side effect of that is you may not notice it, but I do, and it's driving me nuts. If I don't do anything special, the height of the linked up and down buttons here is going to be 1 pixel short of the size of the delete button here, because the delete button is probably like an odd size, and it's super annoying. So it's always 1 pixel short, and if I decided to add a pixel of padding between the two buttons here, they will look completely out of place. So that is not an option. And there's the other problem of moving up and down one level is forces you to chase the row. So you press the button here and it moves down one level. Okay, down, now you want to move it down another level, you have to move the pointer down to chase the row and then press it again, and it goes out of the pointer range, so you have to move it again and again. So okay, let's solve this problem. Let's brainstorm. Let's add a button that moves the track to the top of the playlist. Except that now you have 3 buttons. Let's move another one that moves it to the bottom. 4 buttons. Okay, you have 4 buttons and no place to put them. And it's so annoying. So at that point you start adding a menu here, like a popover menu, and then what was a single click operation, it becomes very involved. I'm not one for speedrunning the desktop, honestly. Every time somebody comes up and says, oh, now it takes me 4 clicks to shut down my computer instead of taking like 3 clicks. And I'm always like, why you try to speedrun your desktop experience? Is it shutting down your desktop such an important part of your daily life that you want to save the less than 1 second necessary to add another click? And instead it's just, but in this case it's very much, there are no other operations possible. Opening a menu and then selecting a command is like infinitely slower than pressing button. So for this release of Amberol, I decided I'm only going to leave the remove button here and leave the playlist manipulation for another time. I'd love to, but I have no idea how to make it work. Like, from not just from a design perspective, but also literally from an engineering perspective. There are too many moving parts that I have no idea how they interact with each other. Maybe I'll figure out something for like faking the drag and drop. Like, if I'm crossing something, then I'm going to add a padding to the row to let you know you are dropping it in a specific position. I mean, that might work, but that might also look like completely ass. And let's merge it. I love this bug in GitLab. There are 3 merge requests. Now there are 2 merge requests. But we don't delete that, so we are going to make that 32. It's hilarious. The kind of bugs that happen. So this is another merge request that I'm very interested in, but I'm not blocking this release on top. Speeding up the importing folders is kind of important, but there are still some user interaction bits that need to be solved, so I'm not gonna touch it. So today is going to be release day, and the very important bit is that I removed the validation of the manifest, the app data manifest, which means that I don't have to deal with bullshit coming from upstream utils. But I will have to take new screenshots. That's the side effect of it. So first of all, I need to do something on the other screen. Okay. And then let's start. So let's do a release. The first thing we have to do for a release is bump up the version number. Okay. Update the changelog. So this is going to be, we need to keep this. So added, changed, fixed, and removed. And then this is going to be 0.4.0 release to day, which is 2022 04/22. Okay, we have a bunch of fixes here, which is good. We don't have anything removed. We added add waveform display and yeah, add waveform display, even though it's not just a waveform display. Then what did we do? So tweaks in the UI, fix 15, okay. Fix 17, okay. Okay. Adding folders. Added. Add recursive folder. Add recursively. 12 has been fixed. 16. Okay. 29. Okay, fixed here. Scroll playlist to the current song. So it's 29. Okay. Update dependency. Well, dependency on lofty for M4A4 52. Add divider above scrolling playlist 26. Add empty. Add initial status page. Startup 27. Okay. No. Yes. Okay. Is this an added or a changed? This is going to be interesting. Change the layout. Make the layout more mobile friendly. 58. Okay, fix. This is going to be fix styling. Oh, pull back. The missing forward fallback. Be 36. And then Okay, this another fix is set the album art metadata for Empress. Okay. Ah, yeah. Yeah. Ship our own icons. This is a change because it doesn't have anything associated to it. And yeah. Add remove button to the playlist. There you go. Then what else? I didn't add it. Let me see. Did I actually add the cover? Oh yeah, here. Cover art to the Curo widget. Okay. So cover art in the playlist. And then yeah, the waveform stuff is the last bit. So nothing was removed this time. Oh, typo in the year. Yeah. 20,220. Wow. We really live in the future. Okay. Right, so this is the detailed changelog, which is fine. And then we have to deal with the app data changelog. So for this release, release version 040 is not development release anymore. And this is going to be description. And then we have the list of things that happened. Okay, so what happened? Okay. Yeah. So let's start from the very beginning. Show initial page when launching application. The application is so informal. Amberol. Okay, then what do we add next? Okay, so okay. Make the layout more mobile friendly without sacrificing without impacting desktop users. What else? What else? What else? Right. Removing songs from playlist. Add initial experimental support for recursive loading of music folders. Again, I keep alt-tabbing, but I shouldn't be alt-tabbing. I should be just switching. And yeah. Show the cover art for tracks, music tracks in the playlist. Show the current position in the song that you using. Okay, right, so now I'll have to take a bunch of screenshots, which is the bane of my existence. So it's going to be Amberol screenshots 0.4. We're gonna have to take a few of these screenshots. So now I'll have to start building this thing, so it's going to make my stream really choppy for a second, because everything runs and eats all the cores. Which, to be fair, is precisely what we want most of the time, but not when streaming. Oh, there you go. So, yeah, let's take a screenshot of this. Okay. Go on a window. There you go. Good. Then we choose a folder and we select my small one. Of course, no, I have to do it differently. So okay, this is the correct size. So good. Now choose a folder, music. Good. So now we select this. Maybe a nicer album. Let me mute myself so I don't accidentally DMCA myself. Let's go here. Good. So this is going to be the other screenshot. Okay. And then we want the version here. So we'll have to resize the window. No, 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 no. Yes. Okay. So now we can close it. The screen shooter hotness, yes. I still have that extension. Is one of the few extensions to, sorry. It's one of the few extensions that I still have installed. I even removed my own extension, the one I wrote. Okay. So. Yeah. I'll have to run it through GIMP. Okay, just 1 second. Pictures, screenshots from today. Good stuff. Okay. Start with this. Image. Crop the content. And save it into projects. Amberol. Data. Screenshots. Amberol 1. Yes, replace it. Okay, this one. Image. Crop the content. Export. It's going to be projects, Amberol, data, screenshots 2. Yes, replace it. Then we go here and we do image, crop the content. Yep. Okay. Then we do export, projects, Amberol, data, screenshots, Amberol 3. Good stuff. So we can close it. Yeah, discard the changes. Now I need to copy data, screenshots, PNG to public HTML long screenshots 0.4. Let me see if they arrived. Yes, they arrived. Okay. So let's switch to, yeah, we'll have to run the build as well. But for now we are fine. So the okay. The manifest is fine. Okay. We'll have to run the test. So okay. 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 The README file also points to the screenshots, but we can change them a little bit, so we can have them like this. So we don't show the initial like empty status page. Kind of pointless. Okay, so this is going to be the thing that goes into the release. So git commit release 0.40. Okay, now we do meson list. And see if we can get the list going. So I can generate the tarball, I can attach it to the release page on GitLab, I can update the manifest in Flathub, and then I can publish it on Flathub. So the disting is in process. I sincerely hope that the build will not completely obliterate my CPU. Oh. To be honest, releasing like an application like this to Flathub is not bad. It's a lot easier than anything else, honestly. I've done releases, and I've done releases that ended up on a distribution, and then in terms of complexity, probably the simplest one that I had literally involved generating the RPM out of a makefile. That was not complicated, but after that I had to deal with OBS. And OBS is not the streaming application. OBS as in the OpenSUSE build service. So I had to generate the RPM spec and then modify the manifest in OBS, which at the time was using a revision control system that was almost completely unlike Subversion, but it was also terrible. I don't know if they switched to Git at this point, or if they still have their weirdo revision control that was entirely different from anything else. It was so weird, honestly. Here we are at the point where everything is super, super slow. I'm sorry for the people that like joined the stream and they were expecting me to blow up like last week. Honestly, I apologize. I strive to provide good content. But today, I'm not gonna explode again. You will get the VOD, I promise. So you can relieve me getting increasingly frustrated to the point of basically going slightly nuts. Today is chill. Last week was good content. Please explode. No. I mean, my GP is going to shout at me because my blood pressure is going through the roof. Plus, if I explode too many times on stream, people will start noticing. And then it will end up on Reddit or OMG Ubuntu or Phoronix. I mean, I tweeted out that I'm actually enjoying writing application code for a change, and I ended up on the programming circle jerk subreddit. Because I had the goal to enjoy myself. Okay. So let's tag this. Seems to have worked, so git tag 040. That's the intern for you. Yeah. I mean, I completely understand. Okay, I know about programming circle jerk because I'm usually there, and I'm there because it's good to have some healthy distance from the hype, like Rust and Go and everything else, or like C, C++, whatever. It's not because I enjoy making fun of this stuff. I don't, but I strive to avoid being the main character on the internet, and that allows me to navigate far away from the position of being the main character of the day on the internet. Still, the overall idea is of ending there isn't precisely what I had in mind when I tweeted out that I was enjoying writing code. Well, I have opinions. Of course I have opinions. And I understand that that makes me a target, of course, but still. I mean, I know I have opinions. I have opinions, and I know that makes me a target because I'm literally giving you my opinion. People even ask me for my opinion, so I'm clearly, and plus, come on, I work on GNOME. I'm opinionated. That's the default. There are few projects as opinionated as GNOME, and of course everyone that contributes to GNOME has opinions, very strong as well. Okay. There we go. We have a release. So let's go to deployments, releases, new release. 040. Release title is Amberol 040 beta. No milestone. And then we want to add all of this. And we need to attach two files. So projects, Amberol, here and here. There you go. Oh, I don't know if I didn't announce it. It happened while I was asleep, to be honest with you. The project was moved from my own namespace to the world namespace in the GNOME GitLab. This means that if I want to have it translated by the GNOME translation community, I can actually ask them to add my project there. So I expect that will happen next week. I'll send an email to the GNOME localization teams if they don't mind adding Amberol to the list of translatable projects. And probably next week I'm going to see if I can ask for the induction in the circle group of applications. Okay, we should be fine. We are going to create a release here. Perfect. So we are going to take the URL of this and put it inside the manifest for Flathub. That will require also getting the checksum here. Okay, 2040 new release of the process, and then we're going to push it. And we'll see what happens. Okay, so let me have a look. Oh, good stuff. So it's on Flathub now. It will take a little bit to start the build and then do its trick. Yeah. I honestly hope that it will work out. to be completely like, yeah, honest with you, I have no idea if that will work out, because I'm not doing the updata manifest validation locally, and I have no idea if Flathub will reject the entire thing out of hand, in which case I will have to do a 041 like instantaneously. I mean, I'm not validating the manifest myself, so I have no idea if that works. I mean, I know that that will not break the build, but if Flathub is taking the manifest, doing the validation itself, and if it's doing the validation itself, then it fails miserably, then I don't know what will happen. There is a way to disable the update validation that I might use at that point. So maybe that's the solution. Yeah, the process of publishing on Flathub is incredibly painless as far as I'm concerned. I'm honestly surprised. The only downside is that I cannot just publish a tag on Git and update the manifest to point to that tag. I have to go through the dance of creating a tarball because I have to vendor all the Rust dependencies there. The other thing that I want to try next week is switching to the mold linker, because apparently that speeds up the incremental rebuilds like something incredible, especially in Rust. Like relinking goes from, I don't know, 10-12 seconds to like 4. It's hilarious. Now I'm very scared. This is the scary bit. I mean, the screenshots should be fine because they are sized accurately and properly. Yes. Yay, that worked. Oh. Oh. I'm so happy. That worked. Honestly, I didn't believe that. I was bracing myself. Yeah, I was saying the switching the linker might help. I might help like publishing this stuff, especially, or developing it as well. There's so Rust uses a ton of static linking, of course, because everything it gets statically like combined into a single binary. Of course, we have shared library dependencies like GTK, libadwaita, everything that runs into the system, but all the bindings, everything that is written in Rust gets like statically combined into the final binary, which means that the linker has to do a lot of work. Especially like every linker has to drop a ton of symbols, that has to validate all of the symbols that are there, and they have to drop them if they are not used, and that applies for like all the various like static libraries that are generated during the compilation process. And the end result is that the faster the linker is, the more the effect has on your build compared to other languages like C, where it's the compilation unit that will usually like fuck you over, or C++. The linker in C++ will take a ton of memory, but it will not be the slowest part of the process, not just be the linker the slowest part of the process. So, no, we'll see what happens. Oh, yay. Yes. The build was successful on both x86, 64, and ARM. Great. Oh. Yeah, see, this is how releases are supposed to happen, right? This is very chill, very relaxed. You like do a release, figure out if it works or not locally, and then push it, and the machine at the other end of the wire does everything for you. That's fine. That's good. Now we publish it. Ah. If only all releases were this kind of experience. Here I will have to do a new milestone for 0.5. This is closed. Milestone, new milestone, 050. There you go. And now it will have to wait until it's published. Oh. It's good to finish the week in a relaxed manner, honestly. Also because next week I'm gonna go back working on libadwaita, so less Rust and less application development, more CG object and library development. Anyway, here we'll have to wait. So it's gonna go on the other screen. I can even close this. Wow. I reward myself by closing web browser windows. Okay, where are you now? Here. Oh. And here we go. The release has been published. Ah, that was good. That felt good, honestly. That really felt good. So yeah, I mean, this week has been a lot of shuffling around for adding new features, but not much in terms of complications. The most complicated thing was literally writing the waveform view. Well, the generator and the view. And that kind of worked out in the end. It's yeah, it was a good week. Let's just say that. I'm a lot less worried about Rust. I used to be a lot more let's say I used to be a lot more worried because, as I said, I only ever use Rust for like command line or like libraries. So it's not, I'm not used to it in a GUI environment. And to be honest, it works really well. Works really well for that. I didn't expect that, considering that it's heavily pushed in a command line environment. Between Rust and Go, they have taken over the space for writing tools for command line. I mean, I've replaced grep with whipgrep. I replaced less and cat with bath, and I replaced ls with exa. So I'm used to the fact that you can use Rust for command line tool, and it's really fast and it's a lot nicer than C. But for GUI tools is a little bit more complicated. So I'm surprised about this. Of course, I also know that a lot of people in the GNOME community are switching their applications to Rust. But of course, a lot of people in the GNOME community have also switched their applications to Vala, Python, JavaScript. So I know that the people in the GNOME community are really good at picking up new languages or existing languages and writing their applications using them, especially if they are well integrated with the platform, with the rest of the platform. Yeah, I didn't expect that to happen to me, in the sense that getting up to speed in a month, like from zero, from the base template provided by GNOME Builder, March 10th, to now a few releases a month later, and it's already published on Flathub and everything else. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And again, as I said on Twitter, and I got lambasted for it, I'm actually having fun with it. So I guess that's the important part. I see myself working on this application off and on for the foreseeable future, even though it's pretty much complete at this point, as far as I'm concerned. For my use case, it's basically complete. Right, I need to do the thing. Okay, go here. Able to see function in the currently playing song. modifying the playlist and a whole new UI layout. But, yeah, that works just as well on the desktop as it does on mobile. And number 0401. Let's add a link to Flathub, possibly not the beta site. And I will have to attach okay, projects, Amberol, data, screenshots, 1, 2. Let's upload all of them. Here we go. Oh, there's a new icon. Nice. Yeah, seems to be working. And then we'll also have to tweet about all of this, and it's going to be a lot of stuff. Yeah. Of course, I did it again. I'm a dumbass. I built and I took the screenshots using the development profile. Of course I did that because I'm dumb. I'll have to take them all again and replace. I mean, I can, for this week in GNOME, I can use the development like layout, but for Flathub, I will have to replace them. So let's switch to the build preferences using this one, and we'll have to rebuild the project. It's gonna take forever and ever. No. Make active. Okay. I always forget that I need to run it using the default profile for taking screenshots. I'm so used to using the development profile that, of course, everything gets fucked up. Yeah, it would be nice to have it in the screenshot, but how are you gonna make it? It's I mean, applying a class to an application from the outside of the application is going to be problematic. Two variants of blue up windows, yeah. It's difficult in my case because I'm also applying a custom style, so it's harder to make. It's not just libadwaita, it's also the recoloring stuff. And then it's also the application icon and everything else. Oh, it's fine to have crazy ideas, Jakub. It's absolutely fine. If you didn't have crazy ideas, then GNOME would not be as good as it is. Yeah, I can take new screenshots, it's fine. I mean, they're gonna get cached by Flathub anyway, so it's fine, but yeah. I'm not gonna touch the screenshots anymore. The UI, as far as I'm concerned, the UI as it looks like now, it's probably gonna stay like that. I'm going to tweak a bunch of stuff here and there, but I think I found a layout that is good enough for the foreseeable future. Maybe for like Amberol 1.0 is going to be completely different because Adwaita is going to get a new layout manager that, I don't know, does what the flap container does, but does it better or differently, at which point I will switch. But I think that the UI layout as it stands today is good enough. Oh. There we go. So, okay, now it's fine. So it's gonna be no, yes. Okay, so it's going to be this. Okay, choose a folder, music. We select mute myself here. Let's take this. And then we are going to take a screenshot like this. And then we are going to take another screenshot. Yeah. Yes, like this. And here we go. Yeah, the gradient is a lot better. It is a lot better now as well. There you go. Oh. So we'll have to use again GIMP, and we're gonna open them again. Where are you? Pictures, screenshots. I have to start cleaning up my screenshots folder. To be honest, I have a ton of screenshots from ages past as well. So, image, cropped content. projects, data, screenshots. Place, export. This one, image, crop the content. Export. And here we go. Discard changes. Okay, and then we are going to SCP to my VPS. And here we go. Okay, so let's push this as well. So at the very least, we are not gonna get. Where are you? Here. Yeah, I don't know how long it takes for Flathub to update its website. So let's see. Yeah, the screenshots are now a lot better. But yeah. Oh. Yeah, that was nice. That was really nice. A lot less painful than the usual stuff. So I guess we can go back to my big head. And yeah, again, sorry if you came here looking for an explosion, a rant, or whatever else. I don't do those on command, sorry, but I'm pretty sure that something like that will happen again. It's software development and programming is an exercise in frustration, to be honest with you. So I take the days where that does not happen, and I'm very happy when that happens, but of course doesn't make for amazing content. It's also a very short stream, just like a little over 2 hours, so I think I'll stop here and enjoy the rest of my Friday evening. There is not going to be a stream on Monday because I am going to a birthday party / museum visit, so I'm going to be out in the afternoon and evening, so I'm not gonna be here in my home office streaming. I'll be back on Wednesday though. And as I was saying earlier, I'll very likely go back to libadwaita and the tagged entry widget, because now that there are designs and there is feedback there, I can figure out the next step for the widget. There are a couple of ideas there, and probably will have to be split into separate widgets, one for search and one for like actual user input, and we'll figure something out of that, and we'll see where it goes. Ideally, this needs to be locked down before Guadec, which is in July, because the next version of libadwaita will have to be ready by the time GNOME 43 is, I think, in alpha, or no, sorry, in beta stage, when there's the API freeze, so applications can start relying on newly added API. We'll also have to figure out what other applications can do with the tagged entry. At this point, there are like 3 applications using it, using the original tagged entry code, and they're all using it for search, and which is not tagged entry at all. So it's going to be different there. We'll see what happens. As far as Amberol is concerned, I will go ahead and like fix the bugs that are filed. I'll probably do some more streaming about it, like every once in a while, because again, I enjoyed it. But also, I think we have exhausted the didactical purposes of this, like learning Rust and GTK and GNOME. There is one thing that I want to do, which is port the getting started tutorial on the developer.gnome.org website to include also Rust, mostly because people have started like asking around it, and there's the Rust book, the GTK Rust book, which is a great book, and people should read it and should contribute to it as well. But it fills another niche in how in the documentation space for GTK and GNOME and Rust. The getting started tutorial is for people getting started, just to start juggling the concepts that are lying around in the GNOME space. And so it has a completely different, not only a completely different layout, completely different target audience, completely different structure, and a different way of outlining the process of developing an application for GNOME. So they can coexist, both the getting started tutorial and the GTK Rust book. They have to coexist, but they can coexist. But again, the Rust version of the getting started tutorial needs to exist in order for it to coexist with the Rust book. So I'll see if I can do that on stream. It's mostly going to be a porting process, so we'll see what happens there. And yeah, that's basically it. I guess now it's time for the usual outro for the YouTube crowd. I hope you enjoyed watching me struggle with Rust and GNOME and GTK. This is usually what I do. I learn new things and I write applications or libraries, mostly libraries, or documentation. If you enjoy watching me struggle and learn new things and write code and documentation for GNOME, then subscribe to my YouTube channel where I post the VODs of my streams, or otherwise follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Abassi, where I stream my work on usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 4 p.m. Standard British time. And that's it. I hope you all have a great weekend, a great rest of your Friday, and I shall see you all on Wednesday, not on Monday, Wednesday. So have fun. Bye.